Welcome to this Thursday edition of Diplomatic Passport here on Zimbabwe's television network. Now, of course, this is our daily weekday COVID-19 update show where we bring you information on what's happening in our new normal across the globe, in our region, and of course here in Zimbabwe. My name is Robert Mukondiwa, and I'll commence by giving you where we stand as a nation with regards to the novel coronavirus, of course, as availed to us in statistics given by the Ministry of Health and Childcare. So Zimbabwe now has 8,427 confirmed cases of the novel coronavirus, including 248 deaths and 7,967 recoveries, which puts the national recovery rate down a little bit to 94.4%, down from 94.7%. Now, 854 PCR tests were conducted in the last 24 hours, with 17 new cases being recorded. Now, these are all local transmission cases, with Harare still being the epicenter, with 3,327 cases, followed by Bulawayo, which now has 1,667 cases of the novel coronavirus. Sad to say that 2 deaths have been recorded, of course, in the last 24 hours. Now, to go forward with regards to these deaths and, of course, these new local transmission cases recorded over the last 24 hours, what is startling is the fact that these mortalities are from Bulawayo, and there seems to be a few hinges really being lost and coming off from that side of the world. Our hope, of course, is that there shall be no complacency, because at a time, there was a time when Bulawayo was doing tremendously well in making sure we rein in this novel coronavirus. Our hearts and thoughts are with them there in Bulawayo, and I will tell you that next week, because of this emergency that seems to be presenting itself in the south of our country, we felt it's imperative for us to go to Bulawayo and also bring Diplomatic Passport down to the south of the nation. And we shall be updating you on our interactions with our viewers there in Bulawayo. Now, going forward, when the novel coronavirus started, there was a talk of how those with pre-existing conditions were at a higher risk of the effects of the virus. Now, that was certainly not good news for those kids that suffer from cleft lip and palate conditions, which come with respiratory problems and struggles with feeding and speaking clearly, and can have even ear infections. Now, we asked Sibusisiwe Yona, the program director for Southern Africa for Smile Train, if these kids were at risk during this pandemic, and also on how the pandemic had affected their work, and this is what she had to say.
Children with cleft lip and palate tends to be predisposed to respiratory diseases. So to say that there is a link with them being affected by the coronavirus, I can't qualify that as a non-medical professional. But I also cannot dismiss it and say there is no possibility that they could be more vulnerable than other children who don't have the same anomaly. So the deficit is roughly around, we are in November right now, so we are almost on the 6-month mark. So I would say, on average, since we do about 12,000 surgeries in the region, in Africa, I would say the deficit is around maybe around 2,000 patients that haven't received surgery, because we have tried to catch up as countries opened hospitals, if they opened their borders, to allow for some of our outreach teams to visit the hospitals in other countries where there is no capacity. So I think we are catching up. By the time we get to December, I think that deficit would have gone down significantly.
Well, there you have it. It seems we focus on just the able-bodied, or we focus on other illnesses when we look at how COVID-19 has affected us as a nation, and of course the health delivery system. But Sibusisiwe Yona there from Smile Train giving us another perspective. And of course at Diplomatic Passport, we always make it a point that we go out there and talk to practitioners such as Sibusisiwe to find out how people are being affected in all spheres of life. And I will tell you that this discussion is ongoing, and as we speak, they're actually trying to come up with a plan of action to make sure that the media play a very central role in making sure that cleft lip and cleft palate and issues around that condition are dealt with. And certainly, especially in this era of COVID-19, which has really brought upside down our health delivery system, and also interventions like those of Smile Train. We have, of course, a smile that we're wearing because at least they have gotten back on track. They're playing catch up, as Busisiwe has said, and we shall be having them here on Diplomatic Passport as partners so that we also address that. Of course, we've talked about breast cancer, which is something that's absolutely key. We've talked about mental health here on Zimbabwe's television network and on Diplomatic Passport, and certainly a cleft lip and cleft palate are issues that also need a place at the table. Now, over the past perhaps even fortnight, we've been talking on and on about one major issue in social circles, and of course that is the death of Bulawayo hip-hop artist, celebrated rap and hip-hop maestro Calvin Hliziyo, popularly known as simply Calvin. Now, there can never be anyone like him, but certainly can and will be many who follow his footsteps off his path and raise the genre much as there were others like Kingpin before him. And that, of course, was at the turn of the millennium. So it is with pride that today I bring in an established name in the genre to pay tribute to a genre that is absolutely imperative in the lives of especially our youth. And I've got none other than R.Peels. R.Peels, welcome to Diplomatic Passport.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored to be here.
And we're honored to have you here. It's the first time we're having you on Diplomatic Passport, but certainly there's a lot that has been happening in your life, especially during COVID-19 and what went upside down. You're based in Chitungwiza, and you represent not only the community, but of course even your age range, even your peers. Before we get into how things went pretty much upside down because of COVID-19, tell us more about how you became that artist and who you want to serve in the community of music.
Thank you for giving me the chance to introduce myself. I go by the name of R.Peels Muchinjiko, and I would like to say rest in peace to Calvin, and I would like to say please bear with the family and just make sure that you pay tribute to Calvin because he was doing good for hip-hop. And I would like to say that the business in music hasn't been a smooth journey in 2020 because of COVID, but we've managed to find strategies into pushing the music and the culture through social media. So it hasn't been a nice time and a year in terms of business, shows and concerts, but we definitely have been finding ways to improve and becoming a better artist in recording and the quality of the substance we bringing out.
And speaking of those changes, what you want to do, you had to adapt, because a lot of us had to adapt to this new normal. What did you have planned for the year that COVID came and disrupted, for example?
2020, I was planning to make a commercial album.
Okay.
I wanted to make an album called Muchinjiko, the crossover. And we definitely made the album this year because that was part of our goal. But the problem was the movement, because the transport was hindered from coming from the ghetto, coming into the CBD to record, or the studio. So transport was a bit of a problem in doing that, and also we couldn't do shows, we couldn't meet the fans in physical form. It was just through the internet and through performances on online platforms. So it wasn't really, flowers all the way, but it was really like a change in the strategy. But it's God's plan.
Yeah, and I also remember, of course, that especially the first lockdown, that absolute lockdown when we couldn't move, that put people, really in little boxes. But I know you've been working hard, because we've got AK, for example, which is a video that I want to play next, and I want you to then, after that, let's discuss that a little bit and see where your genre takes you and where your thought processes take you. So let's sample a bit of AK by R.Peels.
Jacks on the track.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Think I take my chain panic, Indo hit DJ Padik. Naimbo guide, I'm a gangster, now I'm not gangster. I made mistakes, but then I'm big. Manzoniku wana tuka zangu pares. Panakana wana no dimisa pa fair. Jando munagandi isa pa mip. Taidongo ra TV eba next. Dia nice vakuti ndindiri next. Mukutamba checkers ne munu we chest. Takutongo fama ndaka misa ka chest. See me pop yakandisa pa test. Now ndakuimbira ma checks ma zero. Tragic ndakutenga pa jero. Now ndakuimbira ma checks ma zero. Tragic ndakutenga pa jero. Ege, ege. Talk to a tambira ege, 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 no bagwa sege, ege, ege. Talk to a tambira ege, 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 no bagwa sege, ege, ege. Talk to a tambira ege, 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 no bagwa sege, ege, ege. Talk to a tambira ege, 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 no bagwa sege. Ndi bata nikuseru beruoko, nengori snitch, taga mboko. Faro wari wild, crazy local. Rapping Venetian states, I'm local. They can't finesse my raps, I'm vocal. Shout out to Monkey Toko, hands in the international logo. International mboko, tore up a fender zita, tore up a fender brand, cha, tore up a fender fed up, you know what, to get my bread up. Yeah, faraku taura tsumo, faraku imbira lumo. Facts, yeah, faraku ziva my nose, legendary gumagumo. Sha, ege, ege, talk to a tambira ege, ege, no bagwa sege, ege, talk to a tambira ege, ege, no bagwa sege, ege, talk to a tambira ege.
There you have it. That's a snippet of the video for the track. Now, tell me about this. And making this video in particular. I see you've worked with Ray Vines quite a bit, and we're seeing him on this video. Tell me about those synergies. Why did you decide, you know what, you want to work with various artists? What's behind, you know, that thought process?
I'd like to say Ray Vines is an active member in the Youth Empowerment Program. People might not know because it comes out as comedy, but is an active member in the culture of to empower the youth, the education, and the music. So the funny thing is we did the video during the lockdown. So we were having trouble shooting the video in the neighborhood. We had to get the police statement so that we can do the video in the area. But we definitely did it, and I would like to say thank you to all the parties. And Ray Vines is pretty creative and is one of my closest friends in the industry.
So also tell me about the vibe that you've got with regards to your music. What informs, what do you talk about? What issues do you like to address in your music?
I grew up in a Christian family. I wouldn't want to say that I'm a Christian because of that. But as soon as I became an adult, with moving out and finding ways to get income, I figured that faith is the only thing that's keeping me from, you know, not having a meal, not being able to buy stuff for my family members. So the inspiration behind my music is God, is faith, and the things that, the miracles that happens besides the art and the creative process. So I'm definitely a disciple in preaching hope, inspiration for the youth, employment. Aside from corporates, we can use art to employ the youth. So I'm inspired, you know, just speaking about God in the music.
And I know you're still on the grind and you're working on certain things. Actually, Muchinjiko is something that has come to happen, and there's a lot of hype and a lot of noise about that. Tell me about the album. What's it about? What are your core themes, and how has that been received at the moment so far?
I'd like to say congratulations to the Pharaoh fans. That's my alter ego, R.Peels Pharaoh in the song. So I'd like to say congratulations because the album debuted in the top 5 iTunes in Zimbabwe across all genres. So despite what people might say about hip-hop being an organic and so raw, we managed to do the numbers. So the theme of the album is called the crossover. Muchinjiko, the cross. So I felt like this was my crossover to the commercial side, not just making songs in the studio and just shoot a video, but now we want to sell the music. We want to have a structure around the music, have a manager, have people that represent. So the theme in a business theme. It was a crossover from me being just an organic artist to being a commercial artist, and it was also a spiritual moment for through growth.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah.
So I also saw that while people may have known you, and this is crossover you're talking about, to becoming commercial, they probably knew you, or some knew you, as an underground artist. What inspired that crossover to say, you know what, I'm going commercial? And also tell us about, you've got an interesting discography, you've got an interesting body of work that you've done up until now that some people may not be aware of.
Up to date, we've managed to make 4 albums, 9 projects in total, including EPs. The albums, the inspiration behind the albums was always me keeping up the work ethic and not giving up, because I already had chosen music to be the path that I would want to take. So I would definitely urge people to go listen to the first album, Ziri Ever Beautiful, second album, Kudenga Kure, and the last album, the one with the videos on YouTube, on Vivo, featuring Tigon's Motto, Msia Kadaro. Those albums carry the same message that I carry. So I would urge people to go watch the videos, listen to the albums, because it's strictly original Zimbabwean music, and it's true music. It's not just entertainment.
Absolutely. Well, here we also bring you the artists in the flesh, because we want you to get in touch, and we give you a passport to see into the lives and social thought processes of the people that we bring here, and we bring them from various places. But if you're only just joining us and you do not know what you're watching, well, this is the program that you're watching. Well, Diplomatic Passport, indeed, it is here on Zimbabwe's television network, ZTN. And if you want to post your comments, keep them coming on our Facebook page. And of course, if you want to have me speak to what you want in your heart, you can always contact me on my Twitter handle. That's @ZimRobbie, that's ZimRobbie. And certainly we can get to talking, or on my email address, robertmukondiwa@gmail.com. And certainly there's a lot that we will be talking about in this new normal. Don't forget, tomorrow we have our special weekly show with the Coca-Cola Foundation, no less, which has become a very close partner of ZTN, as well, of course, as the Red Cross, Zimbabwe Red Cross, who are doing tremendous work within the sphere of responding to this COVID-19 epidemic. So we're here with our sponsors tomorrow at just about the same time. Of course, today I'm joined in the studio by R.Peels, who's just been peeling off issues around the work that he's been doing over the years. A very talented gentleman, and certainly I know he's brought a lot of information out which you really wanted to know about his work. Now, going forward, R.Peels, what can we expect from you? What's in the grind at the moment?
2020, the vision for 2021.
Yeah, because you've only got
vision
a couple
for 2021.
Of months. No, actually a month, yes.
Yes, sir. It's definitely, we're going to be doing more concerts. We're going to be doing shows, and we're going to be, getting endorsements. Just trying to make the business happen for, the arts, and creating more opportunities for the youth, just not for myself. So 2021 is definitely a year for a business year and a performance year. And then I've got a question that came through where people were saying, but R.Peels sometimes anokonzeresa on you're quite a fighter on social media, combatant really, and sometimes you're a dissident. What's with the way you speak and that frankness on social media, and what are the things that you'll be addressing, and what's the feeling, what's the adrenaline? I would like to say that I feel that I work hard and I also speak for the youth. So sometimes when I was coming up, I felt like the system wasn't allowing me to get a platform for my songs to get played, or I would get negative comments after releasing something that's of low quality, and I was just a teenager, so my argument was, I'm coming up, I'm trying to get things together. So I would like to say now I've realized that I definitely need a PR, social media handler, so that I don't get to communicate directly with criticism or anything. But I was definitely just carrying the passion in my heart to my phone, and you know, that was just part of growing up.
And it's been a mess here and there, but look at yourself. You're an amazing person. And I want to thank you absolutely for joining me here on Diplomatic Passport. Definitely not the last time we're going to be seeing you here. And I do want to say, if people want to follow you and follow your work, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, where do they find you and what are the handles?
Thank you for having me on this show. Very exciting. You can follow me on Facebook, R.Peels, R.Peels. People have a mistake of pronouncing or spelling the name as Peels, medication, but it's Peels, P-E-E-L-S. YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and all social media handles, including digital platforms, Apple Music, because we also need people to support the movement on those platforms.
Absolutely. Well, you did talk about not getting a platform as you were growing up. ZTN always gives a platform.
Thank you so much.
You always have a platform here. And also, we are trained very, very well. We know how to pronounce Peels. So, there we have it. Until tomorrow. This has been a very exciting day here on Zimbabwe's television network. And we've got a bit of a surprise and a bit of celebration tomorrow that we need to do alongside the Coca-Cola Foundation, as I said. So we're going to see you on that side. You've got a track with Aishan, and we want to close with that. Tell me a little bit about that before we drop it. What's the name of the track, and what's the name of that synergy? Why Aishan?
Andiroya is a Shona term for I've been bewitched. So it's a term for being in a relationship that's blinding. So you're so much in love, or you're so much in a relationship that you lose your mind, you lose the time frame. So it's a song about losing your time, losing your touch with reality because you're in love. So I had to find Aishan because he has really, really nice hooks, and his music is really relating to, you know, the female market. So we definitely made the song for the females. Andiroya, I'm in love, I've been bewitched. Okay.
Well, I will tell you, even women can also be bewitched the other way around. I've got the lady on sound here at Zimbabwe's, Denise Bernard. She's a Garoyo, and she's also very much in love. So I think we should dedicate this to Denise. Denise, if you're watching, of course you're watching. Andiroya, Aishan, and R.Peels, and until tomorrow, have a great evening.
Rega nimbo wandira ma enemy, rega nimbo wandisa mashereni, nanga ndina kisha na eleni, pate katanga kumatu, gatite pati tiri tu, tiri outdoors kune mepo ine breeze, teka boyeka na tongo bati za matriz, coast ne love ne moto, aswaga ndisira mpuira mpoto, aswaga isira mafuta mfoto, pita kunge vanu vakabira loto, kana ndine we anditarise ma vows, kana ndine we anditarise ma hours, kuluza kana focus, asi une spirit ya dokasi, baby wakunditisa murukazi.
I didn't know life could feel so good every time I hang with you. No, when I do with you, things you think we couldn't do, wanting and touching anyhow. When I need God, it up, and it all, yeah. Baby, you and it all, yeah. I want it all, yeah. Baby, you want it all, yeah. You've got the special something, girl. You've got the special something, girl. You've got the special something, girl.
Kami on a leash kuta kungendiri muka, ona kana boys langura kutondi buka, kana ukaenda kunosuka. Do ya ikoko just to creep in the room, dukudongorera when you drop in the spoon. Kuluza kana focus, asi une spirit ya tokazi baby wako ndidisa murukazi Faro
I didn't know life could feel so good every time I hang with you. No, when I do with you, things you think we couldn't do. One in a time.